When you think of a forest, what comes to mind? Big trees, pine cones, and old stumps? Maybe a small creek trickling through the trees or a small lake for fishing. A deer off in the distance or a scolding squirrel up a tree. Possibly a winding trail inviting you to follow it. A foot of fresh snow and a winter wonderland? A place when you look at it, you go, ah. And always lots and lots of trees. A forest is actually defined as a plant community mostly made up of trees and other vegetation growing fairly close together with an associated animal community. It is an ecosystem, a system of soil, water, and air which supports communities of plants and animals. But as you imagine, a forest means more to people than a community of trees and plants and the wildlife which lives in it. It is all those things we appreciate or value in our forests called forest resources and forest values. The main forest resource is trees. They may be cut down or harvested to make wood, paper, and other products. Harvested trees are called timber or logs. Trees are a renewable resource and sustainable, meaning they can grow forever if properly managed. We are fortunate in British Columbia as 2/3 of our province is covered in forest. Most of it is owned by the provincial government on behalf of the people of British Columbia and is called public or crown forest land. To see how our forests can be managed, we are going to look at BC's Woodlot license program. They are some of the best managed forests in British Columbia. So, what is a woodlot license? Well, a woodlot is a privately owned plot of forest land, while a woodlot license is an agreement between a person or an organization and the BC government to manage a plot of public forest land, often in combination with their own private woodlot. A woodlot license is BC's smallest plot of public forest that is managed for timber. There are more than 800 woodlot licenses around the province of British Columbia, and many are located next to towns, communities, recreational areas, and sensitive ecosystems. Woodlot licensees are people from different backgrounds from around the province and take a personal, hands-on approach when working on their woodlot.
Cut my first toe cutting down trees and brush and one thing and another, probably when I was about 10 years old. So that's 70 odd years ago.
They are concerned with sustaining the forest on private and public land and treat the land as if it were their own, and many are family run. The licenses are often passed along to future generations, so woodlot licensees feel they are preserving something not only for themselves but for their families in the future. Managing a woodlot license can be a challenging and interesting job. Woodlot families do much of the work themselves and hire local people to help them. To see how a healthy stand of trees and all the other things that make up a forest are managed, we are going to visit some woodlot licenses around British Columbia. Before a woodlot licensee can harvest the trees, they must prepare a plan to manage the forest resources and values on their woodlot license. Trees must be managed to ensure they are sustainable. Soil, which supplies the nutrients to all plant life, must be cared for. Water, any creeks, streams, rivers, lakes, or wetlands on a woodlot must be protected along with any fish there might be. The wildlife and all its habitat. Cultural heritage resources, example berries, medicinal plants, and things from the forest that are used for spiritual purposes. Scenic views and other forest uses such as recreation and range for cattle. Maps are part of the plans showing where activities are planned and what is being protected. Any water, such as the creek on this map, is shown. If harvesting around this creek, an area must be reserved to protect the water and no machines are allowed past the ribboned off area. A WTP is a wildlife tree patch. These patches are reserved for wildlife habitat, and the map shows where roads, trails, and harvesting are planned. The harvesting plans are reviewed and then approved by the Ministry of Forests. Once the planting is completed, the woodlot licensee can then start harvesting the timber. There are several different harvesting methods. Choosing which method depends on the site, the age of the trees, and the reason the trees are being cut down. The most common is called clear cut with reserves. This is when an area of trees is harvested and some trees are left as seed trees, wildlife tree patches, and reserves around water or wet areas. Because woodlot licenses are small, a clear cut is a small opening. An average size of a clear cut on a woodlot license is about the size of 1 or 2 football fields. The mountain pine beetle has killed large areas of lodgepole pine, which means large areas of trees must be harvested. Another type of harvesting is called select harvesting, when only a few trees are taken. This method is used to protect habitat for wildlife, scenic views from towns or highways, and to produce seeds for future forests. Different types of equipment can be used to harvest the trees. Some licensees still log the old way by hand felling and using horses to skid the logs. Others will use the most modern equipment, such as feller bunchers and skidders. And of course, roads and skid trails must be built to get the timber out of the forests, unless the area is too steep that it can only be removed using a helicopter. Once the trees are harvested, they are sold to a mill or small manufacturing facility where the logs are used to make wood products, pulp, or paper. Some woodlot licensees even have small mills of their own. And because of their size, licensees are able to provide small volume to specialty markets. When an area of a forest has been harvested, a woodlot licensee is responsible for restoring the forest back to its original state. This happens in 2 ways. One is natural regeneration, the renewal of trees by natural means. The forest can regenerate itself naturally by nearby trees dropping their cones. The seeds found inside them fall onto the ground, sprout, and produce a new tree. Sometimes licensees will leave a couple of old mature trees, called seed trees, to help with natural regeneration. The other is reforestation, which is when a forest is restocked by planting seedlings grown by a nursery. Let's tour a nursery to see how our future forests are started. Cones are gathered in the forest or a seed orchard from a similar area as the one being reforested. The seeds are collected from the cones and planted in small pockets of soil and nutrients to start the seedling growing. The flats are kept at the nursery where the seedlings grow for 1 year, sometimes 2. When they are ready to plant in the forest, they are checked for quality, bundled together, and wrapped in plastic. This keeps the moisture in and helps the tree planters handle the bundles. The seedlings are then boxed up and put in cold storage, waiting for tree planting season to arrive. Tree planters plant the seedlings using a special shovel and a tree planting bag which holds the bundles of seedlings. The seedlings are spaced out so they have lots of room to grow, yet enough trees to establish a new forest. In 2008, the 6 billionth tree will be planted in British Columbia. The licensee will monitor the growth of the new trees by ensuring there are enough healthy seedlings to re-establish the forest. A sampling of the number of seedlings in a specified area are counted. The woodlot licensees manage and protect a new plantation until it reaches the free growing stage. This means the healthy young trees are taller than the vegetation around it and can take 7 to 15 years to reach this stage. Once the forest is free growing, the Ministry of Forests is now responsible for its protection. Looking after woodlot license is rewarding work. Licensees spend many hours out in the forest and see the life cycle of a forest, beginning with a mature forest, then harvesting, planting seedlings, and watching the forest renew itself. We are fortunate in British Columbia to have such beautiful forests and enjoy the many things they have to offer. We are also fortunate that woodlot license families around the province are managing some of our forests taking great pride and care in the forests they have been entrusted to look after.
For me, it was a lifelong love of the forest. Always loved it, and I tried from my mid-20s to get a woodlot license, and it was well worth it. And being able to come out and look at not only what you've done but also what you've left. So
we like to see people come in here. It's good for the woodlot. It's good for the people.
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested in the woodlots just more than anything because it is a family operation, and it does provide a good lifestyle. It's not a get-rich program, but it's a way of life, and I know with the small woodlot that we have, it works out good for Larry and my brother and our family, so it kind of goes hand in hand. And
He often says that I'll be proud to leave this to my children.
There's actually a value sometimes that you can't see by going into a forest. And woodlots, I think, promote this in many ways.
British Columbia forests are in good hands with woodlot licensees. These are our family forests and are being preserved for future generations to come.